Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of eXhuming the X-Files here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. My name is Matthew, joined once again with Jeremy.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about FOLIE adieu.
A Madness of Two? Do we have FOLIE adieu here on eXhuming the X-Files?
I mean, we're still at this at season 5, and we're planning on going all the way. So yeah.
Well, there are 11 seasons of this show. Okay. So yeah, FOLIE adieu, episode 19 of season 5, directed by Kim Manners, written by Vince Gilligan of Breaking Bad fame. This I did have a very vivid recollection of from when I was a kid. How about you?
No, no, I
No?
didn't remember anything about this. I
Okay.
think I think the monster of the week ones are the ones that stuck with you the most, man.
Oh
That's what
yeah.
I'm getting from watching.
Yes. I think the Monster of the Week episodes influenced me greatly because there's a lot of time. Obviously, we've been filmmakers over the years, and it's very easy if someone's like, "Oh, well, what are your influences?" Right? I'm like, "Oh, well, geez, when I was like 8 years old, my mom showed me John Carpenter's Halloween, and that's what made me want to direct movies and got me into horror. And she let me read Stephen King books and all of that stuff. And those are my main influences. I think a lot of times we don't really think about the influences that aren't sort of like at the forefront of your thought process. And as we've gone through a lot of these seasons of X Files, I've just been like, oh, when last episode when you're talking about like the plastic wrap in the movie theater, and I was like, yeah, that was the one scene I remembered from when I was a kid watching this episode. I wasn't thinking about that at all when we were making the grand horror and whatnot. But I was like, was there something like subconsciously that was, is
Like, I
that
can
how
get
the
away
idea?
with this and make it look good because the X Files did.
Yeah, like is subconsciously was that there? Something like, oh, I have seen that in the past, and I really like that, and maybe we can do that. So yeah, I think that, and of course, I love horror anthologies, and I've made a million short films, different types of horror stories, and yeah, I think the X Files was a huge influence on that kind of stuff, especially the monster stuff. So yeah, I'm learning so much about myself as we go through the X Files here. But yeah, let's talk FOLIE adieu. This is very close to my heart because for a lot of my youth, I was a telemarketer, or I worked at the Gallup poll for like a decade, and prior to that, I was doing telemarketing when I lived in Grand Island and stuff. And so this is very it hits close to home for me. So
Ugh.
take me through it.
Cold calling.
Yeah.
Starts with a cold calling call center. Some dude is selling vinyl with his script. He begins the
Yep.
call with, "How would you like for us to put $100 in your pocket by 5 p.m. tomorrow?" Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, "We have this vinyl siding, blah, 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 blah." And there's this prick running around the phone, like the manager guy, definitely reminiscent of Office Space. He's like, "Smile and dial,
Yeah.
Gary. Smile and dial."
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that because I've worked at a lot of desk. I've never worked at a cold calling call center. Thank God. What a soulless job that
Oh,
must be.
it's terrible.
But when when I had picked up over at Dell Services, I had a manager who made us dress in ties and slacks every day, even though every other team that was in that building got to wear jeans. And she
Wow.
constantly pressed into us that it was like, when you're taking a call, you need to smile because people on the other side of the line can actually hear it. There's a
Wow.
difference in how you regard them or how you talk to them when you have a smile on your face. And there is some science behind that.
Yeah,
But
there
sometimes you
is.
just don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah, there definitely is. I was always very sort of outgoing. Like I was always like the top producer anywhere. It would always drive DJ fucking crazy because he'd be working at the same place. He could never beat me in sales or the amount of people I could get to sign up for shit that in hindsight is like that is terrible. It's predatory. Like I worked at this place called Thermal Guard Windows and Doors, and we had a script exactly like that. I had a computer screen in front of me, and when someone's saying no, 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 you just ignore them and keep going until they literally hang up on you, and then like 2 days later, it would call the person back again. But there is a whole science behind that, because when you are actually, and fun fact, the reason why Nebraska was like an epicenter of telemarketing firms, especially in the 90s, the aughts, before telemarketing kind of went away. It's because Nebraskans don't have an accent. We are one of the few people in the entire country that does not have a noticeable accent. So when I'm on a call trying to convince you, like if I'm trying to convince somebody in the South to like, with regards like thermal guard windows and doors, it was, hey, let me convince you, like I'm a stranger, I'm cold calling you, I'm going to convince you to let me put a salesman in your house to sell you thousands of dollars worth of windows and doors that you don't actually need. And the thing about it was, I was very, very good at that. I'm very good at being able to like convince people to do things. That is something that I've been good at throughout my entire life. I would get a commission off of every sale that the actual, yeah, like the salesman. So I got so good at this that they actually gave me my own office, and they had me go through like the prior 10 years of their customers to resell them more. And like it was crazy because we would get paid every single week at this company, because it was here in Lincoln, and I was making like $3,000 a week because I would set the appointments. The salesman would go in, and the salesman would sell like $10,000 of windows, and I would get a cut of that. Um, and then we found out that the company wasn't paying taxes, and there was a whole audit with the IRS and stuff. And that was a very stressful time in my life. But the concept of cold calling people, it is a very soulless thing, because you just kind of realize that's all you do all day is you just read a script. You can't deviate from that script. You have to like con essentially these old people into doing things that they don't need, they don't want, but they're going to get taken advantage of. So it's a rough job. It's a rough job.
I mean, $3,000 a week in the early 2000s, though. Man.
Oh yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, no, it was good money.
Where the hell were we? Oh, right. So they're in this tiny call center. This fellow named Gary's. He starts hearing this scratching around the edges of his perception. It sounds like a bug kind of scratching around, and then all of a sudden he starts seeing this fluttering out of the edge of his vision, and it looks like the shadow of the fucking Hat Man zooming around all of the frosted windows of the office. I'm like, all right. Well, it looked like the Hat Man in 480p. I'm sure it looked different. And it's like, no. Eventually he sees the whole thing, and we get a reveal like before the title screen of what the actual monster looks like. So it actually looked kind of good, and I think they were so proud of it in the special effects department. They're like, yeah, we could show this pre-title screen. I want as much coverage on this Bugman as humanly possible.
Yeah. They don't bury the lead. They don't make you think like what is actually going on here. You quite literally see a giant bug going around, and it's cool. I was like, I'm all in. Give me more Bugman.
And then we get the title screen.
What'd you think?
All right. We saw some sweat on Gary.
Oh, he gets very sweaty. Yeah.
There was this haughty little blonde that was talking to him for no reason. Like Gary was way too.
Yeah, she's out of his league.
Yeah,
but then again, she is working at a telemarketing firm. So.
Wow.
They're all on the same level is what I'm saying, Jeremy. I mean, I was there. I'm allowed to say it. They were all on the same level.
Wow, did you do that? Because I was one of those people. I could call them whenever I want.
Yeah.
All right. Word. Okay, so what is it?
Skinner.
Skinner's like, sir. Yeah, we get this message, sir. Agents Mulder and Scully are here. It's like, they're in trouble because the boss is calling you into the office again. Yeah. And they're like, nah, I need you to go to Chicago to do a threat assessment. And Mulder's like, well, why don't you just have the Chicago field office do it? And he's like, no, there's this weird manifesto that got sent out. And it's like, oh, okay. So it's like the supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I write this little line. It's like, okay, finally, we get off to, they're gonna go investigate something for a reason. They just don't show up there because somebody asked them to, or Mulder just jumped to some conclusion. They actually have a reason to go investigate some monster of the week thing.
Yeah.
But
But
Mulder
Mulder's
is
pissed about it.
mad.
Yeah.
He's like, what? How dare he
Yeah.
make me do an X-File?
Well, he throws these little hissy fits every once in a while throughout the series where he's like, "Oh man, I'm just the spooky Mulder guy, and they're sending me off to all these stupid cases that aren't even worth my time." He tells Scully, "Just stay home." He's like, "I'll do this myself." But yeah, it's like there's no real reason for him to get all pissy about it. Like it's a paranormal monster thing. Like, dude, you've encountered fucking Fluke Man in the sewer system. Like, Joe, go jump at it. Go jump at the Bugman. Go find the Bugman.
Nah, he just wasn't feeling it this
No,
week. But
he's in a mood.
so, but he does, and once he gets there, he listens to the manifesto that was sent into some radio program with like a light voice modulation, so they can't just pin it down to Gary. Though, they have tons of QA recordings of Gary fucking
That's true.
like, all right. So, oh yeah, for our audience who's never worked in a call center, QA means quality assurance.
Yeah.
When you work in those centers, people record you and then they listen to what you say to make sure that you're not cussing at customers, that you're saying all the right things. They use it in evals to make sure that you're doing things correctly.
Yeah. I've witnessed people like completely go nuts on the phone because it's hard to describe. I don't think anybody young listening to this really gets what cold calling and telemarketing really was. But this is like such a horrible job that people will just flame out because you're getting rejected. That's the thing. 95% of everybody you call hangs up on you,
Oh,
cusses you out.
it's
What?
more than that, man. I remember
Yeah.
reading a stat. It's like 3.1% of cold calls results in a call back. And then like even half of that results in a sale. Like it's
Yeah.
nuts how bad cold calling works.
Yeah, and people will break because they hired anybody off the street that will do this because nobody wants to do this. And so I mean, it would just be, I've seen older people, I've seen younger people. You get in there and, after a couple days, you completely like implode on the phone to somebody. Like the 18th time someone said, "Go fuck yourself" on the phone, you're going to have a reaction to that person. And then like, yeah, you are ushered out.
Meltdown.
It's a meltdown. Yeah.
But he listens to it, or he listens to this manifesto sent to the radio, and he uses this wording, hiding in the light.
Yeah.
And that, for some reason, is one of those things that sticks in Mulder's mind. So he calls Scully and says, "I need you to go through every X file." Like they don't have an electronic database where she could just do a search. She has to just manually look through paper until she finds the words "hiding in the light" or something adjacent to that.
What a dick move.
Mm-hmm.
And when he calls her, she's just in his office. So again, my question is, does Scully have her own office or does she just hang out in Mulder's with no desk of her own?
I think she has her own, because I've seen her in previous episodes sitting down in a well, not like a cubicle, but at a desk somewhere upstairs, like down the hall from Skinner's office.
But
not her own office.
What's she doing just hanging out in Mulder's office?
I mean,
Because at that point, I mean, he's got tapes, I suppose.
Yeah, she likes the smell, bro. So yeah, she's just down there. She just does it like without any pushback, and that's a lot of work because he's got,
oh my god,
like 4 full filing cabinets full of just shit down there. So, but she does. Cuts back to Gary's blonde, haughty cube neighbor stands up, and she's all chipper, and she's got to go down to the boss's office. Gary stands up. He's like, "Don't," because he
Sweating
knows.
profusely.
Yeah, he knows that there's something wrong with the boss in general, and I guess he just doesn't want the haughty neighbor to get banged by the boss. That's what it felt like.
I think
Don't
he
go in
knows that
that.
the boss is a Bugman, and he's concerned that the Bugman's gonna suck her dry. This is another episode with kind of like sucking stuff, so that's probably also why I'm into it.
Yeah,
We've established this is a weird fetish of mine on
from
this
fat sucking on. Matt's just
any X-Files episode that involves sucking of fluids, I'm into.
Give the man a straw, and he's just on board. So he tries to stop her, and the guy, like the one of the same dude, Dial and Smile, Gary, like when Gary goes to
that guy.
but you hear the girl yelling behind the door, and everybody on the call center floor is just ignoring it.
Yeah, well, they're all drones at this point, or the majority of them. Maybe they've all been sucked.
I don't know, man. Even having been sucked, you work at a call center, you start hearing screaming in an office, everybody's looking. Everybody wants to know because you ain't got nothing else going on.
That's true. those crappy vinyl products aren't going to sell themselves, Jeremy.
All right, Dial and Smile. All right. She comes out and she looks like a zombie.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I start thinking, and they do lean into maybe Gary is just a fucking schizo.
Yeah.
And they sometimes they nail it, sometimes they don't in X-Files. And I thought they kind of nailed it up till the point that he hands everything off to Mulder. Because you don't really know outside of Gary is sweaty and he sees things out of the edges of his vision. And so he just assumes that something is wrong with the blonde hottie sitting next to him.
Yeah, because they show her as a zombie, like she's looking over the cubicle wall down at him, and she's got that kind of like droney voice. And then it does like a reverse shot from the other side, and you see her just in her normal human sort of thing, and she's kind of chipper as she sits down. And so, yeah, they do a good job of kind of be like, is he just nuts? Is there something going on? Do we have another like government is experimenting mind control or whatever sort of thing going on? No, there's a Bugman.
Well, not yet, Matt.
I knew it was a Bugman, Jeremy.
From the very beginning. So Scully does find in a single church X-file about the hiding from the light. Apparently this happened in Florida to some dude. It was very, very similar in description. And so Mulder heads on down to the telemarketing office to talk to somebody. I don't know what it was, but he goes inside and the blonde is like on her knees, like motioning Mulder to get down. And all of a sudden a gun cocks behind him and realizes that everybody at the telemarketing center has been taken hostage. But Mulder has ice in his veins. Like, so I don't know. It's this weird thing where he's in this situation and David Duchovny just plays him as just being tough as nails. He did it in the last episode too with being the undercover guy. Like he has this line about how if I'm not back by midnight, feed my fish.
Yeah.
You're not this hard, Mulder. We saw you at the beginning of the season in Usual Suspects get worked over by the lone gunman when they were going to beat his ass in order to get information out of him. So it's like, don't, you're not tough, buddy. But he's playing it like just ice cold, trying to convince Gary that let the people go, just hold on to this one guy. You don't want to do this stuff. Meanwhile, for some reason they let Scully basically run the entire operation as far as the hostage negotiation went.
Yeah,
It's weird that nobody else, because she's not, that's never been a role she's had before.
yeah, she tells, like, those SWAT officers or whatever, like, "This is what you guys are gonna do, blah, blah, blah," because they wanna do something else, right? And she's like, "No,
Well,
no,
they want to
no,
keep on calling Mulder, and she's like,
yeah."
no,
She's like,
don't.
"No, don't do that, don't do that. He would call us if it was safe," and all of that.
But they don't. Eventually, they do, and unfortunately, that completely screws Mulder's ability to get the drop on Gary because he has his piece, and he almost draws on him a couple of times, but eventually, his gun gets found out. He gets found out that he wasn't actually there to apply for a job.
Yeah.
And what Gary wants is a film crew because he's going to execute his boss on live television so that everybody can see that he's really a bug man.
Yeah.
And so they give in to him. They give him a guy with a camera who's not really broadcasting to the entire world. He's just broadcasting to the negotiators, the negotiators, the people outside, or the law enforcement outside, so that they know where in the room everybody is, so that they can send the ATV from Die Hard 1 that they drove through the
Yeah,
front door in Nakatomi Plaza
that's what I thought.
straight through the wall in order to shoot.
Yeah. They're like, "Oh, look, there's nothing on that wall over there. Well, that'd be perfect. We'll just drive into the wall."
It
We should
was,
also point out that Gary has the people separated. He's got the zombies that have been sucked in one group, and then he's got Mulder and all the others that are quote unquote humans in another group.
and they've
That-
also he's executed one of the people. He called him a zombie, but it just looks like some dude does.
Yeah, yeah. He gets, and then he basically turns it on the boss, and he's like, "You used mind control to have that zombie like come at me, and that's what caused me to like shoot the guy down and whatnot." So it's a good scene. Like this whole sort of sequence here, the guy playing Gary is really good, I thought.
Yeah. Sweat. I mean, he was sweating his ass off, and that
Oh yeah,
normally accompanies tense, terse acting.
yeah,
So they bust down the wall. They shoot Gary, but I guess right before that, right as Gary's about to execute the boss on the television, like he's Mulder steps in the way because he's like, "No, you don't want to do that, Gary." And he's like, "Look at him." And Mulder turns around, and he's the actual bug man. It's like,
yeah,
does Mulder see it? Doesn't he? Like we don't
yeah.
really know, but as Gary is dying, he's like, what did he say? Now it's
He's
your
like,
turn.
"Now you know," or something
Now
like
you know.
that.
Yeah.
Now you know.
So Mulder starts going crazy, investigating Mr. Pincus through all of his X Files, while Scully kind of entertains some of the facts of it, but just shrugs it off as like the word, or just the shit a demented person would
Yeah,
say.
the folie à the madness of two, like where it's basically like I don't know if it's an actual psychological condition or whatever that's been identified, and but it's like, hey, like you see Jeremy, if you start seeing crazy stuff, and I'm like, what's going on? But then it like transfers to me, and then I start seeing the same crazy shit that you do.
Yeah.
And so Mulder is going through that, and Scully thinks it's just this weird folie à medical thing, like a brain issue that he's somehow been influenced by this killer. Because of course she does not believe in the Bugman.
Well, I mean, from the outside, it still does look like the dude was just crazy. But then Mulder's like, "Hey, I saw it too." So we know that he saw Mr. Pincus, the bug man. Pincus fly. So,
Pincus fly. I like that.
so, like, the cute blonde, or they go, Mulder goes with some just random agent over to Gary's house to do further investigating, finds that Gary was like doing some crazy following Pincus fly around,
Got a
what his
murder
schedule
board.
was. And then Mulder looks outside and he sees the the cute blonde coworker just standing outside of Gary's house for no reason. But she looks like a zombie. So Mulder runs outside and starts doing a car chase on foot for
Yeah.
about half a block,
Yeah.
while the agent that's with him is like, "What are you doing?"
What that was funny. I was like, why is Mulder like as soon as he sees the car drive away, like why is he trying to chase it down? I mean, it looked cool. I guess it just looked cool. We had to get some action in the episode somehow.
It gets back to Skinner brings Scully into his office and is like, "Your partner is still in Chicago. What are you doing here?" Because Mulder wants her, or previous, as she's leaving Chicago and saying, "You're on your own. I'm not doing this anymore." She was like, "I don't, or I'm not going to autopsy the body of the guy that got shot in the hostage negotiation thing. I'm just not doing it
Yeah.
because he died to a gunshot wound. If you're fucking crazy, just be crazy about this. But I'm gonna have nothing to do with it." She gets back to Virginia or wherever the FBI base is, DC, and Skinner's like, "Your partner's still out there. Why are you back here?" And she's like, "Oh, I got to cover for Mulder now." So she's like, "Oh no, I believe that Mulder is out there." Was like, "Well, okay, you need to get back out to Chicago to help him out." Oh, and by the way, Mulder sent this body back
Yeah.
to Quantico in order for you to do an autopsy, and she's just like,
Like Mulder does not respect her at all. like she's like, I'm not gonna do this autopsy, and he just schedules it anyway. What a dick.
and she gets harangued into it just so that just so Mulder doesn't get in trouble. So she shows up to do it, and she's like, "Oh no, we're not cutting him open. We're just looking at his body." And comes to find out that the guy had looked like, or had so advanced, or was such an advanced decomposition that it looked like he had died about 4 days before he had been shot.
Yeah.
And so Scully is like, "Well, that's not possible." But we find later she just completely dismisses it. Like
Yeah.
that's not evidence that something is going on. In the meantime, what is it? Where are my notes? Am I? I'm just skipping all over the place.
Mulder's is following Pincus because he goes back to the house. Remember, because there's that woman inside the house watching the television, and Mulder's like trying
Oh
to
yeah.
he's trying to prove that that Pincus is Pincus Fly.
And he breaks into the gal's house, and she's a zombie. And there is the pinkest fly is like scooting around doing bug stuff.
Yeah, like on the ceiling. Looks cool. I liked it.
I bet you did. So, um, he gets essentially or he leaves the house, but eventually gets back to DC, where Skinner is interviewing the woman who's saying like, "He broke into my house. He was acting like a madman."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like, Pincus Fly is there standing behind Skinner, turning into the Bugman, like, behind him. And so Mulder like pulls out his piece and he's about to do him in Skinner's office, and Skinner and them fight. So Mulder has to go to the 13th floor. Like, he gets tied down like a fucking crazy patient, and the nurse that he's flirting with while she's drugging him up.
In any real world situation, Mulder is fired at this point in time. like you can't just pull your gun in the assistant director's office trying to shoot a dude and then get committed to a mental institution and keep your badge and gun. That's just not happening. but
But
X
it
Files,
did.
it did. It did in this universe.
And while he's being locked up in this hospital, he convinces Scully to take one more look at the body, because she is his 1 in 5 billion.
Yeah, you're my 1 in 5 billion. I wonder if that's where was it Iron Man or whatever, where Iron Man's daughter's like, you're like 1 in 3 million or something. I was like, did they get that from this? You're my 1 in 5 billion, Scully.
I just want to say that there were probably 5 billion on the people on the Earth back then.
Yeah,
So
she's the only one that ever believes him on anything. Doesn't even
so she,
apologize for making her do the autopsy though.
but she didn't do it. She just looked at a body. She didn't
I
do
guess,
any
yeah.
cutting,
I guess
but
she's kind
she
of being an asshole about it too because she didn't tell him she didn't actually do it.
yep, just half-assed it.
Friends.
But she does. She goes back. She looks at the body, and they're like, "Oh, we're cutting him open this time." Nope. No, just flip him over on his stomach. We're gonna shave the back of his head to see if there's a couple of bite marks there, and there are.
Yeah.
And
Suction marks.
back at the hospital, Mulder is again flirting with the nurse, but while he's giving him a sleepy time shot, and then she starts like leaving, and it starts pointing the camera at the window, and he could see like shadows of stuff through it. And I'm like, he's in a psych ward up on the third, fifth floor, something like that. Like they don't have. I don't remember there ever being a window at a hospital I've ever been to that opens. Never mind in the psych ward where they could just like jump to their death. But
Fair point.
uh, this part of it was pretty weak. But he starts yelling because he hears or sees Pincus fly through the window, and the nurse comes back in, and she's actually a zombie.
Yeah.
And not only will she not untie him, she opens the window and then leaves
When did
him.
she become a zombie? Because
I
why didn't she just have the window open to begin with?
That's a good question, Matt. And for an answer, I'd like to refer you to Chris Carter himself. So they she they leave him with the window open. Sure enough, the pinkest fly comes back. He starts yelling, "Help!" Scully shows up um, at the nurse desk, sees through the zombie nurse disguise, and runs down to Mulder's room. She
And
doesn't know which
why does she suddenly see the zombies?
because she saw the bite marks on the back of his neck.
So that just eliminate because Mulder mentions at some point in this episode that he thinks that the bug man, Pincus Fly, can sort of like I guess project stuff into people's minds to make him look human and make the zombies still look human. So you're saying just seeing the bite marks on the back of the neck has made Scully be able to see truth and reality?
I think when you stop or when you start believing that there's something wrong, that's when you can see it.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so, sure enough, she runs into the room. The fly person is there. She takes a bunch of shots. The fly goes out the window, and then, but nothing gets caught. The fly man disappears. The nurse disappears. Everybody that was infected, that was a zombie at the call center, vanishes. Skinner listens to Scully's report about what actually happened, and she confirms that Mulder isn't crazy. There's something actually going on. And then she
That's
has the titular line in the elevator. She says, "Folie adieu, madness shared with two." And I'm like, that is so weak. I hated it. But then we get the final scene where there's another call center and there's another sweaty guy that's doing selling vinyl signing or whatever, and he hears the scratching and he sees the Bugman zooming around on the floor, and that's where it ends.
I would have liked some more lore about the Bugman. We know that there's multiple X files that deal with the Bugman, but so he's creating drones. These people are, I guess, ostensibly decaying because we do establish that. Was that the reason why the Bugman just has not taken over the world? Because he could just start sucking all of these people and everybody turns into a zombie. Presumably, he's been doing this around telemarketing centers for a long, long period of time. Do these people that traveled with him, that disappeared with him, does he just have like a zombie army that he's building, the Bugman, or do these zombies just kind of like fall apart at a certain point, and then he's just got to keep sucking people to replenish his troops? I want the Bugman lore, Jeremy. Tell me about the Bugman.
there's, no, there's nothing to be learned from this episode. There's no closure. We're going to see another call center episode at some point in the future where they fail to capture the Bugman.
I hope we see that. Tell me your thoughts on Folie à Deux. What did you think of this episode?
I enjoyed it. It was a better of the Monster of the Week episodes that we've gotten in season 5. It was one of the better ones.
I love
and
it.
the bug itself looked really good.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you got a lot more to say, so let us have it, man.
I loved it. I loved everything about it. The idea that there's a Bugman running around, flying around, crawling around, sucking people and turning them into zombies, I think is a fantastic concept, especially placing it within the context of a telemarketing call center, where, like you said, you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said it's just soulless. It's just life sucking to work at a telemarketing sort of thing, and kind of utilizing that location with what this and the dude who played Pincus Fly, I thought was really good. He played it as like just this kind of like, aw shucks, I'm just this, I'm just this boss, there's nothing fly like about me, or buggy like me at all. It was just so good. It was so good, and it made me forget about the fact that we are now on episode 19 of a 20 episode season, and we still are not getting any myth arc episodes leading up to the movie, which was a big complaint I had last week. But yeah, I love these Monster of the Week episodes. I just think they're fantastic, and I better see the Bugman again. I better. So, fun facts about Folie à Deux. Folie à Deux was written by Vince Gilligan, who was inspired by the idea that, quote, there's a monster around that only you can see, the clinical definition of madness, unquote. The title is a reference to folie à deux, a psychiatric syndrome in which symptoms of a delusional belief and sometimes hallucinations are transmitted from one individual to another. The episode's bug antagonist was actually a prosthetic suit worn by a stunt woman. The suit was highly ridiculed behind the scenes. Reportedly, actor Markinson, upon seeing the costume, said, quote, this is what's driving me crazy, unquote. Director Kim Manners, too, thought that the costume was ridiculous and sardonically told people that the episode would ruin his career. Gilligan attributed the problems due to the episodic work schedule. He noted, quote, we're usually on such a short schedule that there has to be a weak link somewhere, unquote. Gilligan also stated that the over-engineered aspects of the suit made it somewhat comical. To fix the perceived issues with the monster, the production team gave the film footage to visual effects editor Laurie Calson George, who, quote, took the footage with the monster in it, erased the monster completely, took the monster to a different screen, animated it, and added speed blur, unquote. These effects were time-consuming and were only finished the day the episode aired. Wow. In the finished episode, the monster is not clearly visible, which allowed the scariness of the episode to be more real. Gilligan approved of Carlson George's work, saying, quote, there's a long, noble history to obscuring the monster. The truth is your imagination can be much more effective than real life, unquote. Initially, the producers wanted to set the Gretchen Starnes house scenes at a tract home to recall the pastel community featured in movies like Edward Scissorhands and The Truman Show. However, when the production crew located a suitable tract home, it was not nearly as spooky as they were hoping. And so they ended up shooting most of these scenes in a turn-of-the-century house located in North Vancouver, British Columbia. Special effect rigging was installed on the house to allow the bug creature to scale the wall. The elaborate sequence in which the insect creature crawls across the ceiling was made by erecting an upside-down house set on a soundstage. The stunt woman portraying the bug then crawled across the set, and the footage was flipped in post-production. The scenes featuring an armored car smashing through the wall of vinyl right were also filmed on a specially constructed soundstage. So there you go. There's your fun facts for Folie à Deux. I loved it. Jeremy, you seem to be like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay.
Great. Gary and Pincus Fly were excellent.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, thanks for listening to another episode of eXhuming the X-Files, everybody. Stay tuned next week because we have made it to the final episode of season 5, literally called The End. Hopefully we get a myth arc episode. We'll see. But yeah, that's it. Goodbye, everybody.